Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Transfer portal set to open up Tuesday morning. If there's one program that we know is going to get extremely active over the next couple of weeks, it's Coach Prime. The Colorado Buffaloes want to dive into a few names that would make a ton of sense for Coach Prime to be going after over the next couple of weeks. Already some connections to some of these players. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do it, as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. It is going to be an absolute blast breaking down the transfer portal over the next couple of weeks. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll keep you guys as updated as possible. And even more importantly, would love to hear some feedback in the comments section on other position groups or names you would like to see Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes be going after. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start with a really interesting tackle that entered the transfer portal, and Andrew Chamble coming over from Arkansas. And this is one of those offensive tackles that's appealing for a couple of different reasons. One, starting experience in the SEC as a redshirt freshman. That's really encouraging. Was a guy that was a four-star prospect, a top 20 offensive tackle coming out in the 2022 class. But I think more importantly, Andrew Chamble is a guy that can come into this Colorado program and not only compete for a starting spot with guys like Khalil Benson and Savion Washington. I think he adds really adequate depth to that offensive line. I think you go into the 2024 season with probably 4 offensive tackles that you feel pretty good about, which is much improved from where this Colorado program was 12 months ago. But I think even more important than all that, you're looking at a guy in Andrew Chamble at 6'6", 304 pounds with 35-inch arms and saying, all right, he might be pretty solid as a redshirt sophomore. What is it going to look like for him in 2025 and in 2026? I think not only does he give you a starting option at tackle in 2024, I think the upside for a guy like Andrew Chamble is really impressive as well. Was a freshman All-SEC player at Arkansas in 2023. One of the more coveted offensive tackles that will be in the portal this window opening. Would love to see Colorado make some moves, and it sounds like they are on a short list to get a visit from them. Now, the next position group that I want to go into is on the defensive line. And again, you're kind of seeing the emphasis on continuing to build the line of scrimmage for this Colorado program on both sides of the football. And you take a look at some of the guys in the portal, one just offered by Colorado the other day, Philip Blezy coming over from Indiana. And this is a guy that has played a lot of football in the Big Ten Conference, a guy at 6'3", 295. You take a look at some pictures of Philip Blezy, a guy that carries that weight exceptionally well. And then I think my most important attribute that Philip Blezy brings to the table is a little bit of pass rush juice, which you don't always see from guys on the inside. You take a look at Colorado last year, guys like Shane Cokes, a 3.2% pass rush win rate, not a lot of production in the pass rush department coming from that Colorado program. A guy like Philip Blezy, 9.5 pass rush win rate in the Big Ten last year. You take him into this program, not only do you add to more of that depth on the inside of that defensive line, I think more importantly, you're looking at a guy that can give you some pass rush juice that you kind of were missing in that 2023 year. Next guy on the defensive line, continuing on the inside, is Germaine Leala coming over from Louisville. Now, he's had an absolutely wild career where, when healthy, Germaine Leala has been one of the better defensive linemen that you see in the country, but I think the MO is hasn't really been able to stay on the field, stay healthy. He's going into his 6th year of college football, hitting the transfer portal once again. And this is a guy that 25 tackles for a loss, 12 sacks, has played over 1,800 snaps. A lot of things that are exciting for a guy like Germaine Leala, a guy that if he stays healthy for Colorado, not only I think can be a starter for that Colorado defensive line, but be a guy that can certainly provide some high upside as well. I think the main question here is making sure that he's going to be healthy for you in 2024, because this is last year of eligibility. So you got to stay healthy, stay on the field. But a guy that if he does, I think would be a really exciting prospect for Colorado. Next guy I want to talk about, Nikai Hill-Green, and this has been a wild ride for Nikai. He has started his career at Michigan, goes to Charlotte, then transfers to UCF, backs off his commitment once again in the transfer portal. Now, as a Michigan fan myself, Nikai Green, I think, is a very good linebacker. You go look at the linebackers for Colorado right now. I think you like what you have with Levante Bentley. I think you still have some question marks about Trevor Woods converting back to that linebacker spot. Nikai Green comes in and provides that high floor kind of linebacker that I think Colorado is looking for. Like, just give us a linebacker that can play at a high level. Nikai Green played at a high level at Michigan, just kind of got squeezed out by two NFL linebackers, goes to Charlotte, 73 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 29 run stops for Charlotte last year. This is a guy that really nice range. He's got really good feel. You can tell he's played a lot of football. Doesn't miss a lot of run fits, doesn't miss a lot of tackles. I'm a big fan of Nikai Green. I think personally he's one of those more underrated linebackers in the transfer portal. It's hard to find linebackers that have played a lot of football that are available in the portal. Nikai Green, in my mind, is one of those guys. We'd love to see Colorado kick the tires on Nikai Green. Last one I want to talk about, and apparently there is some buzz around this one, and that's quarterback Nick Evers coming over from Wisconsin. Another wild ride for Nick Evers. Started his career at Oklahoma, hits the transfer portal, goes to Wisconsin, has played 2 years at 2 separate schools. I think the kind of the conversation you want to have with Nick Evers was this was a guy that was very sought after coming out of high school. It was the number 8 quarterback in the country in that 2022 class. I think the question you have with Nick Evers is you haven't really seen him play a lot of football. And I think why this one makes sense is you're kind of looking for a plan after Shedeur Sanders leaves in 2024. I think Nick Evers would be a perfect guy that at 6'3", 200 pounds. I mean, him coming out of high school, there was a ton of upside that he brought to the table. You thought he needed a little bit more polish. What better opportunity than for Nick Evers to go to Colorado, sit behind Shedeur Sanders, an NFL caliber quarterback for a year, and potentially be the guy and develop. So he's that guy in 2025. I personally look at this and say, this is almost that perfect landing spot for a guy like Nick Evers, where he knows he's not going to play in 2024, but he knows he's going to be the guy in 2025. He gets a chance to develop for a third year in college, be that guy going into year 4. I think that one would potentially make a lot of sense as well. A lot of names that are going to be entering the transfer portal over the next 48, 72 hours, and pretty much this whole week. We'll keep you guys as updated as possible. Wanted to hop on, talk about a few names that I thought would make a lot of sense for this Colorado program. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.